Good. So I'm glad to be here, and thanks so much, Theo, for such a detailed overview of both sectors. I'm not sure about most important, but I think in terms of some of the stuff that you talked about, what I really wanted to touch on was the impact of developing local content, especially local industry within the oil and gas sector. Both you and I have written on the topic, so it's something that is very closely monitored by myself, and having worked also in the service industry, in the upstream sector, something that's really close to me. The comment I wanted to make on that was, I think there's this underlying belief that somehow industry must create an enabling environment for creation of backward and forward links, especially in terms of manufacturing capacity and or creating fabrication points. And I think that's, if you look at it from that perspective, is wrong. I think from that understanding, creating the enabling environment is solely a government function. The government has not built any reasonable resources or enabling environments in order to encourage industry to set up fabrication points or even manufacturing points. I'll give you an example from my industry, and I know this is really, we're going to have to be quick on this.
Yes.
I was running a major oil and gas, international oil and gas country level operation in Ivory Coast. And oftentimes I had the option of having to pick between certain areas of the world to get my tools from. So if I needed tools to go out into offshore to drill, I'll have to look at the map on our online system and say, okay, am I going to go to pick my tools from Nigeria? Am I going to go to pick my tools from Celle, which is in Germany, Aberdeen, or Dubai? And 90% of the time, if not almost all the time, I've had to choose equipment from London, Aberdeen, Dubai, because the logistics was so much easier. I couldn't go to Nigeria. So industry is suffering from the inability, especially of ECOWAS and all these other regions, from having these really coordinated approaches to transferring of goods, being able to get goods outside of the industry. We have offshore theft issues when we're transporting from Nigeria, for instance, on a ship. So these are some of the issues.
So for you, local content is most critical. I just put up a slide. So yeah. If I understand you, you're saying that to move from green into the circle, the government has to do the work.
There has to be some enabling environment. Free ports, free zones. It doesn't always have to be tied to a specific project for us to get access to tariff regimes that or customs regimes that
Let me push you. If you look at the government of Ghana, do they seem to be serious about doing what you just said?
I don't think there's been any serious effort at it.
You don't think so?
Especially from the regional coordination perspective, there has not been any effort. I mean, why is it difficult for me to hire somebody from Nigeria to come and work in Ghana if we have an ECOWAS setup? There's supposed to be free movement of goods, there's supposed to be free movement of people. Why is that still difficult for a company operating here? Because if I set up a manufacturing plant, I want to be able to not only move my goods freely, because that also helps me to sustain my economic viability for that plant, because Ghana alone is not a big market for me. So I need to be able to work across the larger African region in being able to send my goods in and out. But if I have to go to London and then come back to Africa, that's a problem. And that's a huge